Howdy, howdy, everyone. Welcome to NWP, another wonderful Wednesday night. We're on my channel this week. I'm your host, Eric Eastep, joined as always by the one and only, the Iceberg. Where's he at? Up there. No, I'm up here. The Iceberg, Jarrett Lundberg. And down south is Daniel Baldwin, aka Danny B Talks. I also hear that his Trains YouTube channel is up well over 1,000 subscribers. So, congratulations, Danny. You are the first of the three of us to successfully get a second channel up off the ground. Congratulations on that. We've got lots to get to tonight, but first, gentlemen, how you guys enjoying your break? I know we obviously talked last week, but like now that the Olympic summer break is effectively over, NASCAR is back. You guys do anything fun? We talk business a lot of times, the three of us. We don't always talk like what's something fun going on in your life, Jared? What do you got going on?
Um, I'm working out
Danny,
tonight.
what do you have going on? Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the trains channel. That has been a lot of fun. Getting out and filming some content for that channel and putting out some more videos with that. It's been nice to kind of get a little break from all the NASCAR research stuff. That honestly, I'm just like getting to the point where like, yeah, how much longer can I do this research stuff all the time? Kind of getting a little drained and run out of ideas and that. But that you just go out, film them. There you go, or get on the video game
Yeah.
Trains 22, make stuff.
It's cool. It's awesome. I'm glad that you're turning another passion of yours into a project. That's awesome. Jarrett just flashed up the like goal for tonight. If we hit the big 600, that will unlock the random driver of the week segment. Always a fan favorite. Really appreciate everyone tuning in. As Spencer just noted in the chat, no more breaks. 14 straight weeks of stress about to be endured until the end of the season. The playoffs are right around the corner. But guys, we've got some news, some stories, some rumors to get to tonight before we preview Richmond. Let's actually talk about next year's playoffs. I know 2024 playoffs are right around the corner. Let's talk about 2025 because if you guys saw, Jordan Bianchi of The Athletic has reported on what could be next year's playoff schedule. I'll break it down pretty simply. We didn't talk about this. Jared, did you happen to make a graphic or anything to throw up here, or are we just gonna
We're gonna wing it.
we're gonna wing it? So, according to The Athletic, a proposed 2025 playoff schedule looks like this: round of 16, Southern 500 at Darlington, Gateway, and then the Bristol Night Race. The round of 12, New Hampshire back in the playoffs, Kansas, and then the Charlotte Roval. The round of 8, this is where things get spicy. Las Vegas, Talladega, then Martinsville, with Phoenix once again hosting the finale. I think that might be the only date that's basically confirmed at this point. That's all tentative. Of course, 2025 schedule has not been released thus far, but Talladega getting pushed a few weeks back into the round of 8. Jarrett, what's your reaction to that? Not confirmation, but this very real possibility.
First off, I don't want this. A lot of people, I saw on Twitter were like, "Oh, NASCAR fans complaining to complain again. Oh, they did this in 2009. What's the difference now?" Well, the difference now is three race rounds, single race championship decider. Like in the old chase format, '04 to 2013. You had 9 other races that could make up for it. In the other playoff rounds, the way it's set up right now, you still, like in the round of 12, you had enough buffer for the really good drivers to get through that unless they completely crashed and burned. With this, I mean, it's 14 days away from what I still think to this day something that NASCAR will do, of just slowly moving that entertainment level further and further and further over the competition level and further closer to the finale. And if this happens and it's 2 weeks away from the finale, then everyone saying that I'm an Alex Jones with my tinfoil hat, I think that you might be sweating a little bit.
Yeah, this is too close for comfort. I would say it's not. I still don't think they're going to go that far, Jarrett, as long as we have a single race championship. But this is officially too close for comfort. What were you going to say, Danny?
I just think that if we go to a super speedway, we run the realistic risk of a wreck big enough that all 4 competitors are took out, and you could have I don't know, just going to use a random name. Kyle Larson goes flipping way past everyone else's crashing cars. He lands the thirdest, and he's the champion.
That's yeah, he lands the furthest. It's like the shot put to make an Olympics an Olympics reference. Whichever one goes the furthest wins. Yeah, that reason alone, I think, is will scare NASCAR into not making Daytona or Talladega the finale. Now, Atlanta, there's some history there of Atlanta being the finale. It is an SMI owned track, so I guess that might disqualify it. But yeah, something to keep an eye on.
It
Any
it
other?
is it is so it's so too bad that SMI can't get it because I know this is there's another thing being floated around. No way to know if it's confirmed or not, but there was a schedule going around that says the Clash could be at Bowman Gray. We've heard that from other people too, and I'm like, if we can go to Bowman Gray in the February, what's stopping us from doing Bristol for a championship race one day? But it's SMI.
Yeah, SMI has some valid championship venues like Las Vegas. There, the weather is not even a concern. That I think could be a solid enough championship. Bristol's not a bad take. Charlotte, even if we wanted to ditch the Roval and go back to the Oval for the finale, I could see that. But yeah, as
That's a,
long as
that
NASCAR owns that date, they're not letting go.
well, that's another one too. Is that we're still on the Roval, and I think I've
Yeah.
shifted a little bit, like 2018 or so, uh, before we before we really had the road course revolution of NASCAR. I was like, we need one in there. We need more road courses, and I still think that fix the car and road courses will be really really fun consistently again. But I'm kind of like I prefer a road course in the playoffs, but if we have the choice between the Roval that's kind of played out and the Oval, I can live a year or two without having a road course at that part of the season. I really can.
Yeah. So I
And
like, yeah.
and there's rumors that Mexico City could be an option that NASCAR looks to go to next year, and that would be yet another road course edition.
Yeah, I don't know what the logistics look like, but if they could do Mexico City in the fall or Montreal in the fall, okay. Because I'm kind of with you, Jared. I follow that same train of thought of that I want a road course in the playoffs. We have like four or five of them in the regular season. It only makes sense that there's at least one in there to sort of balance out the playoff schedule. But if it has to be the Roval, eh, I'm kind of done with the Roval. It's still usually an interesting race, but I won't go as far as Kyle Busch or whoever has gone in the past to call it, just a dumb parking lot track. I won't go that far either, but it's kind of run its course. I'd rather see a 400-mile race on the oval, even a 500-mile race, since it still would distinguish itself from the 600. But yeah, maybe there's another road course. I don't think they could do Coda because September is too hot and October is the F1 race, right? I think it's in October. Um,
I know they're doing Watkins Glen this year, but I've said it all year. Watkins Glen just doesn't feel like a playoff track to
no.
me for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, if the crowd's great this year, if the energy is just as hype as ever, then maybe okay. Maybe that is now a playoff track. That could be a possibility. But
But I think Jordan Bianchi also confirmed it's being moved out. Like he
yeah,
said that
well,
one in
after this
Atlanta
year,
this
yeah,
year.
it's expected to. So yeah, 2025 is going to be weird. If we look ahead to 2026, this isn't a playoff. This isn't playoff related, but there's real momentum behind a potential clash in Brazil in 2026. We just saw Daniel Suarez race the NASCAR Brazil Series during the break. I believe he technically finished second in one race. He won another race. I think he did a third one as well. I don't remember exactly what his result was. Any Daniel Suarez fans in the chat can let me know exactly how
Did
he
he have a
ran.
penalty of some kind or something like
Yeah,
that?
he technically won both races or crossed the line first, I think, in two of the races, but was had a 5 second penalty for. I think I saw the clip. He was kind of bump drafting someone, which is not allowed, I guess, in under FIA regulations. So, these dumb NASCAR guys going in there and trashing up the joint. But yeah, a race in Brazil. How would you feel about that, Danny, if they do the clash in South America?
It'd be interesting. I know there's been lots of talks of wanting to get NASCAR into another country, another market. I guess we haven't. Like, I'm not counting Canada and Mexico. We've done that, but I guess this would be the first like big travel NASCAR's done since the Japanese races back in the '90s.
Yeah, it would be the first time they've gone out of North America since then.
I believe
Someone
so. Yeah.
someone correct me if I'm wrong.
At least the Cup Series.
Yeah, I think so.
I see.
Brazil's an interesting country. When I was in college at UT, I did Portuguese as my foreign language, so I got to learn a little bit about Brazil while I was in college.
So, yeah,
Nice.
I just
I
Where are you
actually
getting
had
that?
a
You
had a
got to whip
roommate
something
who
out
was
for us now.
Brazilian as well, so I got to learn about it from him as well.
Oh my gosh. So you got to say something in Portuguese now, Danny. You've put yourself on the spot.
Let's see. I'll say good night, boa noite.
That sounds about right. That I think that's it. I know Spanish a little bit. I know they're
I know.
similar.
I know. Good morning is like bom dia.
Oh, all right. If we have any Brazilian fans, please we're over here applauding
Been a
Danny,
minute
but
since I had to speak it, so I'm surprised I even know that.
he could be blowing it for all we know, but that sounded legit to me. I don't know. Corey in the chat says yes. I don't know if that's a yes to your to your foreign language credit, but
well,
that's awesome.
I'll kind of add a little bit. Like I have noticed, at least in my analytics, Brazil is one of the higher up countries. Like there is a racing fan base there.
We need the Iceberg Portuguese as a second channel.
Well, yeah, that'd be a nice way to branch out.
Someone from Brazil actually said I did a good job.
Hey,
Good
oh wait,
job.
where's that? Yeah, nice job.
But there's like two things I think about with this. One, cost saving. Get the hell down to South America. Like it just doesn't make sense the way that NASCAR's sending one message and then doing something in the other.
Yeah.
And the other is, if I'm not mistaken, the area they're supposed to be having this is in the middle of an election season, which, let's keeping politics out of it opinion wise, but just more, anyone will say anything to get elected. Politicians are the scum of the earth, and they will do anything and say anything to get people on their side. So until this has some more traction to it and it's not just a one report, I'm not believing it's happening in 2026.
So you're saying this is an election year in Brazil, and it's their
the area. I think there's like a
so they're using this as like
something.
a hey, we're bringing tourism to our city, our town. This is okay.
I'm not trying to get too much in the newsy part of it, but if I recall, the last time Brazil had an election, it got violent down there.
Well, and I'm just thinking, like, you think of how also the Chicago street race came into be. NASCAR, I think, has a good strategy here of finding desperate politicians that are in election years and squeezing their way in that way, and then being like,
maybe,
hey, new guys, we're here.
That you might be onto something there, actually. With you're right with comparing it to the Chicago street race. Well, yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'll believe it when I see it. Your point about cost cutting is valid. I could see this as like being a bargaining chip. NASCAR willing to cave to some of the teams' charter demands if they accept, hey, there's going to be a flight to South America on the horizon. Start budgeting accordingly. Like I could see some give and take there perhaps, but also knowing NASCAR, it's my way or the highway. There may not be, maybe I'm giving them a little too much credit. One other schedule thing, we touched on it briefly, but also The Athletic has reported that Mexico City could be there could be a race in Mexico City next year. We're back to 2025 in June if both sides can finalize a deal that's been worked on. We kind of heard this last year, but about Montreal, it was like they had sort of a framework in place, and it fell through, and we went to Iowa, which was great. Iowa was fun. I don't know. What do you guys feel? Like, let's assume it happens. Because I think it's 50-50. Let's assume Mexico City happens. Cup Series goes south of the border. What do you think, Danny? Would you be excited for that?
Yep, count me in for some. I don't know if I'll be there. I'll get some authentic tacos or something like that. Enjoy the race that day.
From Hendersonville, you'll go find the authentic.
There's a pretty good taco place here.
Okay, all right, yeah. What about you, Jared? What do you think of this?
I think this is one of the two countries they need to focus on.
Yeah.
Mexico and Canada. I don't know about you guys. Again, I'm going to go back to anecdotal on this, but still kind of statistics. It's America, Canada, Mexico, and then usually the UK, Brazil, some of these other countries.
Australia. A lot of Australians watch NASCAR, especially these days.
And New Zealanders.
Yes.
But the top three is usually the closest in proximity, or America. Well, and America for sure. So if they're going to do this, they need to get something with Canada figured out, because Canadian race fans, they're a niche group, but they are a very loud, vocal, and loyal group, and they deserve to have a cup race. And if Mexico gets a cup race, which I do think that at some point they should, Canada should get one as well. Have one in Mexico, have one in Canada. And then maybe the Clash is the one where you're like, this year we'll go to Brazil, and next year we'll go to, I don't know, England. And then
Hickory.
and the year after that we'll go to Hickory, because that's a whole different world in and of itself.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think the Clash should be truly, they should be aggressive with where they market and put the Clash. But you're right. Start in North America from a budget standpoint, logistical standpoint, it's the most feasible. And I agree with you. There are some very passionate Canadian fans. Correct me if I'm wrong. Road America packed 100,000 plus people there for those NASCAR weekends. I'm sure many of them came from Canada, if I had to guess.
And a lot of the ones at Michigan International Speedway come from Canada.
Yes.
They play the Canadian national anthem beforehand. At least the last couple times I've been there, they have. And it's because there's that big fan base there, and they need represented.
Yeah, and it's just, so it's interesting though. NASCAR has a branded Mexico series, they have a branded Canada series, and they have a branded Brazil series. So it's not hard to see, they've made inroads in 3 specific countries. That's probably going to be their first 3 stops once they go international, which makes sense to me. But all this is still
my
tentative.
biggest wonder about the Clash is I'm assuming it would be on that road course, but also we've kind of last few years we've been establishing that the Clash is a short track stadium type vibe, especially if we do Bowman Gray, kind of will continue the vibe of the LA Coliseum's Clash. And I mean, like, do we want to stray from that, or we want to put it into a soccer stadium in Brazil and try to fill it up? I mean, I don't know what we'd do.
Yeah. The possibilities are potentially endless.
They will choose off of who has more money.
I'm laughing at the chat. Duke Chronic says the UK has a track called Darlington, and then I knew this. Omar Lopez says Rockingham is in England. So
maybe we can go to Old Hampshire.
Ooh, NASCAR's roots are across the pond. Who knew?
NASCAR race in Wembley Stadium. Let's do it.
Let's make it happen. Well, we're off to a fiery start tonight. I want to say thank you to everyone for the super chats. We will get to the first batch of them at the top of the hour, but do really appreciate all of your support. And of course, at the end of the show, we will be previewing the Richmond Raceway NASCAR weekend. It's so weird doing this show without a previous race to react to. Let's talk about some of the. Do you guys want to start with silly season or the business? Let's start with the business. Let's get the gritty sort of black and white business stuff out of the way.
Get the yucky stuff out of the way.
Yeah, NASCAR, the industry is standing on business. There were a bunch of reports, most of them from the Sports Business Journal this week. For one, Adam Stern wrote about many different private equity groups and sports funds. He used the word are circling NASCAR teams, which I found interesting. We have seen recently the Avenue Sports Fund buy a minority stake in Trackhouse. Last year, Joe Gibbs sold off a minority stake. I think we can count Gainbridge as sort of being like a big fund or sports group that clearly purchased a large stake of Spire Motorsports, huge influx of cash over there. Like, we're already starting to see, even before that, go back a decade and a half, the Fenway Group buying into Roush sort of, if you want to say, started this craze. But with the way sports in this country and really across the world seem to be growing, it is a popular investment. And NASCAR, relative to even Major League Soccer or the WNBA, NASCAR is cheap to get into. With what charters, franchises have sold for, even on the high end, it's pennies compared to, and I compared it to the Oakland Athletics on my show this week. Probably between them and the Marlins for the cheapest MLB franchise, they still cost $1 billion. And NASCAR charters are selling at best for $40 million a piece. So if you're an investment group, it's cheap to get in, potentially high upside. Even without a charter agreement in place, I guess it's no surprise to hear that a lot of outside investors are interested in NASCAR. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts.
Well, I think part of it is since the beginning, and the France family, in my opinion, from the beginning set it up this way, teams are dispensable. Like, teams come and go. If you look at the history of NASCAR compared to the history of other leagues, how many teams are actually still around from the 40s, 50s, or 60s? Like, how
when did
many?
The Wood Brothers start?
The Wood Brothers. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, and technically at this point, they're basically a fourth Penske car. Petty Enterprises turned into Richard Petty Motorsports as it merged with Evernham and others, and then it became, Legacy and whatever. Whereas, like, you have NFL teams that are over 100 years old. I mean, like I root for the Vikings, and they were founded in '61, and they're one of the newer teams. Mm-hmm. And then you have NASCAR, where, like, our big juggernauts are Hendrick, Gibbs, Penske. I don't know off the top of my head, but I know the Gibbs team was early 90s. Hendrick was in the 80s. I mean, there's a lot of turnover. So I think what these businesses and a lot of these teams have figured out is like they are fundamentally changing the way NASCAR has been run forever. And that's why we're having such a, sandpaper like discourse with the charters. And so I like the idea of having more money put into the sport in any way, just because it does help it no matter what. Mm-hmm. I think, and we'll talk about in a bit, what the charter deal at the moment they're talking about banning. I think that's the bigger picture part of it, because I think then it sort of can solidify it more with some of these guys. And so they're not having to outsource to full out governments at this point.
Yeah. So you're referring to, and I kind of want to get the wording right. Adam Stern also reported that NASCAR's latest charter proposal, which obviously the teams have not at least yet agreed to.
Did you lose Eric too?
Yeah.
Yep.
It included a ban on sovereign wealth funds, which he specifically writes would prevent the likes of Saudi Arabia's public investment fund from investing in teams. So to your point, Jared, a ban on major government public funding buying into race teams, especially from maybe countries that NASCAR doesn't necessarily want to align with or become beholden to, like that. I think fans will cheer that.
So you're saying Russia can't invest into our motorsports to be our motorsports?
Comrade.
But your point, Jared, though, is like the teams may be like, well, I mean, yeah, I guess we don't want to sell to a government fund somewhere, but like that's money that is on the table. Then you're saying we can't go access. I mean, you look at golf, and I'm not an expert on this, but I know the drama between the PGA Tour and then the Live Tour. Like there's money from some of these other places, and you're telling the teams, yeah, you can't touch that money. And, it's again, give and take. Will the teams agree to that? Can they did NASCAR sweeten the deal? I don't know. But I think from my perspective, I like that a ban like that could be put into place, because I don't want to see that.
No Saudi blood money is good for me. I'm just going to say that right off the bat.
Exactly.
I'm good. Not, I know that each country has different issues. The less we have to deal with geopolitical politics in NASCAR, the better.
Especially,
I am all for that.
Exactly. That's well said.
You remember that controversy, like, was it 3 years ago or so with F1, where it's like, oh yeah, there's just bombing going on a mile down the road. Run the race anyway, damn it.
Yeah, that was insane. I would like to avoid a similar issue. And yes, I am looking at the chat, Insane Productions. Yeah, you said it best, though. You summed it up very, very simply and clearly. I think that's well done. What else was there? There was, if we move on from that, actually, one other interesting Sports Business Journal report was that some teams, according to Adam Stern, may sit out the second season of the Netflix docuseries until a charter agreement is agreed upon. And I'm sure you guys read this the same way. My immediate reaction is that some teams mainly refers to 23XI.
That's why I'm taking it.
Yeah, because they were the star of the show last year. Hamlin let them into his home.
At the same time, that wouldn't be a bad thing to get someone new seen.
Oh, their existing NASCAR fans are probably like, hell yeah, I don't need more Denny Hamlin on my screen. But let's be honest, Denny Hamlin, I think Denny Hamlin, what's the best way to say it? If I'm a non-NASCAR fan, I watched last year's show, I'd be a Denny Hamlin fan now, because he's a little full of himself. He's got a family. He's also driven to win a championship that he's never got. He's a little delusional. You hear the things he would say about how he's cursed. He's a crazy elite athlete.
But he also comes across as just like a cool guy, a superstar, Yeah,
but that's what I mean. He's got the big house, it's if I'm a non-NASCAR fan, I would have gravitated to Denny Hamlin watching that show. No other driver jumped off my screen the way Denny Hamlin did. So I think 23XI knows this is one of the last bits of leverage they could potentially cling to, because if NASCAR is going to fork over millions of dollars to produce this show, they would want Hamlin, Reddick, who very well could win the championship, Bubba Wallace. They'd want them in the show. Imagine if Hamlin and Reddick sit out the Netflix show and then both get to the championship four. Like, what does Netflix do? What does NASCAR do? That's money wasted. The show is over. You can't air that at that point. You know what I mean? No. So I get it. I get why they're doing this, honestly.
That would be just them not getting up close personal time. Denny Hamlin in 2311 can't just say, don't put me in that at all, because NASCAR has name, image, likeness contracts that, hey, you're going to be seen on stuff, getting
Yeah, I
clips of this.
guess.
They're still going to be in it, but they may not be up close
I,
stars like they were.
I mean, they could just straight up work around it when it comes to
But
access because
it would
they
suck though.
well they partially did that for the quarterback documentary a while
I
back.
haven't seen that.
They pulled different quotes from just random YouTube podcasts and like I follow Purple Daily. They pulled quotes from that without them even really knowing about it. Like so it's they can work around it and they're smart enough people to do so. I would just rather that we have the character in it.
Yeah.
What's your storyline too that you can carry over year to year? Like Denny Hamlin winning a championship, you can. The only other one I can think of is like I don't know, Christopher Bell redemption arc will actually follow him this year.
How many more Legos did William Byron buy since last season? Like that's what's at stake if not for Denny Hamlin. That's all I'm saying is like crap on Denny Hamlin all you want. He often deserves it. He's sometimes a loudmouth, whatever, hypocritical, whatever you want to call him. He deserves criticism from time to time. He was the star of the Netflix show, and he deserves credit for that. He saw what it was supposed to be, leaned into it. I respect the hell out of him for doing that. Other drivers did to a degree, but not to the degree Denny Hamlin did. So, I see why 2311 and maybe some other teams would try to pull this leverage, but at the same time, if they do sit out the Netflix show, you're skipping out on millions of dollars worth of effectively free advertising that you would have gotten otherwise. So it's still tough. It's still tough, but
If
I
I
see
was
why they're
in,
doing it.
if I was a Netflix, documentary people, I would look at this and I'd say, okay, we can work around this. There are plenty of other guys that I think would be nice to get more in depth about their lives. Like honestly, I don't feel like, and I know he had some. I don't feel like there was enough shown about Ryan Blaney, who actually won the championship. It would be nice to get some up close cameras and of his life going to try to defend this championship that he won last year. While also there's a side thing of him and his fiance in the middle planning their wedding that I would assume is going to happen in the off season or something like that.
Yeah.
Showcase kind of the dynamics of that. Do something.
Absolutely. But I will say this, like the driver has to meet them halfway. I don't know how much access Blaney like granted them. And maybe he did grant them access and then didn't do anything interesting. Like, that's the tough part. So I'm with you, but it also like some of it's on the teams and the drivers to be like I think 2311 was the only team that let Netflix bring cameras into their meeting. And it's like, wow, like that was good content. I've never seen that. Not of that quality at least. So that was
Meanwhile, now that he's in the playoffs this year, Chase Elliott be like, "Hi, I'm Chase Elliott. Goodbye."
cool. Yeah, he would. I feel like he would sit it out.
But at the same time, though, like especially if somebody like a Rick Hendrick or Jeff Gordon were to step in, like that would be a really good opportunity to market yourself to the outer audience.
Yeah.
I could see a team like Hendrick seeing because they're not. People can say what they want about Hendrick. They are intelligent, incredibly intelligent people, and they'll just see there's a opening, there's a void in the market.
Yeah, for real. Take this as an opportunity to say, hey, we're Hendrick. We are the Alabama, Georgia football of NASCAR. This is why you need to be focused on my team.
And we're gonna kick your ass. like just go with it. Be like I could honestly see that being the case though. I could also see NASCAR stepping in like, all right, y'all, everybody's got to step up here. We got 3 of the guys sitting out of the playoffs right now that are supposed to be in it because we know Denny ain't going to be in it if 2311 is sitting out. Rest of you got to step up. So we're going to need Blaney to do this. We're going to need, I don't know. Brad, you're in it this year. Well, you go for it. Go for it. Just
me?
Run wild, kid.
Heck, yeah. Hendrick, take this and give it a chance to showcase Alex Bowman for the personality he has that we barely get to see.
He's funny, man.
I want to see a Chris Buescher and his lavish lifestyle. Did you guys see that video RFK
Dude,
posted
that was
today?
so good. If the AI NASCAR YouTube videos are good for anything, they're good for drivers to watch, react, and roast. Give me more of that.
That was genius. Yeah, I want to see all 140 pounds of Chris Buescher in his massive mansion. I want to see that. But yes, actually, no, we can kind of move on to more free agency talk, silly season stuff. The big players continue to be Spire Motorsports, and now, as of today, Junior Motorsports. Today, Dale Earnhardt Jr. introduced Connor Zilisch as the next driver of the number 88 Xfinity Series car. He'll be full-time in 2025. He's part-time this year, going to make a handful of starts here at the end of the season, but he'll be full-time next year. 18 years old, on loan from Trackhouse. I think it's going to work. He's moving up the ranks extremely quickly, but I listened to the interview today with Junior, and Justin Marks was in it as well. And Justin Marks made a great point that what stands out about Connor Zilisch is how quickly he's adapted to every car and series he's driven. The dude raced go-karts, won championships in America, in Europe, then was running Trans Am. IMSA, won the Rolex 24 his first try. He's won several ARCA races already. He was the fastest car on track, fastest truck, I should say, at COTA in his Truck Series debut, just made a couple mistakes. Like, he does adapt quickly. So I think it's going to work. Jarrett, what do you think? Do you think it's too soon for Zilisch full-time Xfinity?
Well, first off, I want to credit him to learning how to fold his arms correctly. I don't know if anyone followed that one.
That old video, that first photo of him a while back. Yeah, that's like deep. No wonder you're called the iceberg. That was well
lore
under the surface right there.
That's
Yeah.
Connor Zilisch lore that few will remember in a few years. I think it is the right decision in the sense that I think JRM needs to be aggressive. They have not shown. I get that people are talking like, I think it's like the Yankees might investor, like the investors involved with that for JRM. That's all he said, she said for now. What they need to do is get the Xfinity program back on track, full blow on it. I mean, yeah, Justin Allgaier is Justin Allgaier. He's going to be good, but for how long? You need to get drivers who are really good in there. It sounds like Sam Mayer probably is moving on. If not, from all indications, he won't be back at JRM next year. You got the 9 that's going to be opened up with Brandon Jones pretty much being kicked out the door based on what Bob Pockers was saying. So you got Sammy Smith, you got Connor Zilisch, you got Justin Allgaier. Am I forgetting anyone? I think there's still an opening.
Now. There's at least one.
You still a lot of people are wondering where Carson Kvapil fits into all this.
That's where I was getting with it. JRM, I think they would be incredibly smart in just kind of soft reset. Get these really talented young drivers in. They're gonna have their warts here and there during the season, but Carson Kvapil has shown a ton of promise in his starts. Connor Zilisch is, everyone's saying the next Kyle Larson. This is the next Jeff Gordon. This is the next Kyle Larson. Like, that's just, everyone's going to say that for the next 20 years. I like this idea of going forward this way. And the fact that this could be a 5-car team, because JRM has their 4, and this is pretty much being subsidized by Trackhouse. So
if there is no limits to the amount of cars you can field, go for it.
I mean, I don't think it's impossible.
And I don't know. I guess there hasn't been a confirmation that Junior won't race next year, has there?
He hasn't. No, he hasn't said he won't. It's just he's toyed with the idea that he might stop.
And I mean, keep this in mind. Like, unless they put it as a full-time car number, when Junior first started Junior Motorsports, Brad Keselowski drove the 88. He drove the 5. We could bring back Junior in the 5 even,
or the 81 too. I mean, that could be an option.
The 81.
Oh yeah, has been used. So I honestly think it would be okay doing a 5-car team and Dale Jr. doing the 6th one for like 1 or 2 races, and
put Miguel Paludo in there for those road courses. He seems like doing them too.
well, and use those guys as test guys. Like, if you have the ability to field more cars than anyone, use it to test. Just like Roush used to do back when they had 5 cars, and then they just popped the 06 in there with Colin Braun or David Reagan or whoever. Like, I think it's smart.
People are also mentioning the Hendrick 17. Theoretically, a Junior could hop in a Hendrick 17 car even.
They're 81 is JGR now. Money always talks. You can always get the number you want if it means something to you. Just ask Dale Jr. with the 8 right now.
Yeah. And we've learned from the Xfinity Series, numbers are just numbers there. They're not as much as the Cup Series.
Yeah, numbers do seem to just sort of bounce around. What if Dale Jr., they've announced the 7 will be Allgaier most likely. Yeah. Zilisch is the 88. We're assuming Sammy Smith will, I guess, stay in the 8. But maybe you move him to the 9, and then you bring back that old 8 font for just the 8 car for one-offs with Dale and
You
and
gotta.
friends.
You gotta. I mean, well, it's just
That's
If
what
it
this is shaping up to be.
it's an
That's all.
Earnhardt font. It
or
has always
or
been an Earnhardt font. Yes, I know that Childress had the 3 with that font, but it's always been if you're gonna get the ownership of it, freaking use it.
even if they wanted to keep the 8 full time, let's say Sammy Smith is still in the 8. Sammy, this race, you're driving the 5. Junior's in the 8 this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just
Could be.
go for it. Do the 08 for all I care. Get just some random number, 57 for all I care. Like just I'm sorry. This is me being a fan here. I want to see one more race with Dale Jr. in this 8, and preferably if it's red.
Yeah, who do they have that's
Tire pros? I don't know.
well, hey, let's just keep Pilot on the 8, and we're gonna make it all red.
I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'll look in this car and see if I can find any that might work. I mean, they could do a red Bass Pro Shops car. They did that with Martin Truex in his first starts.
That's true.
Well, you guys brought up Carson Kvapil. I think that was the only maybe slight surprise that, now it appears maybe Kvapil won't be getting a full-time JRM seat. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but if you're losing a driver with funding like Brandon Jones, you'd probably want to replace him with someone with funding. And I don't know that that's Carson Kvapil. But Kvapil, I want to pull up his numbers just to be 100% certain. In his 6 Xfinity starts this year, he has 3 top 5 finishes. He's got a worst finish of 19th at Darlington, but the rest of the time he's in and around the top 10, top 5 consistently, which has been very impressive for someone with no prior Xfinity Series experience before this year. Obviously, he's a great short track racer, good late model driver. Been pretty cool to see him do well in his limited opportunities this year. But Zilich next season, I think he'll be good. He's going to be thrown into the deep end at first, but I think he'll figure it out. He's figured just about everything else out. I think he will be just fine. Then let's talk about Spire. They've made some moves recently. Let me see if I can get my train of thought back together. They confirmed the other day that Travis Peterson will join Michael McDowell at the 71 next year. So Peterson, who works with McDowell currently at Front Row, they will follow each other over to Spire. We obviously know LaJoy is out of the 7. But last week, JF Thorman, the president of Andretti Global, said in a official Andretti uploaded YouTube video that the plan is to hopefully race in NASCAR soon. So we've known based on previous reports that they would likely enter the sport through a partnership with an existing team. The Gainbridge sponsorship connection makes everyone look at Spire Motorsports, of course, connecting the dots. So we've seen Spire spend a lot of money. They've spent money on McDowell, multi-year deal. Rodney Childers, bringing Travis Pearson. They're letting go Corey LaJoy. We don't know who's going to go in the 7. Everyone wants to say Kyle Busch. More realistically, I think it's going to be, maybe they pry away an Eric Jones from Toyota. Maybe they pry Justin Haley away from Rick Ware. They have a past relationship at Spire. I think that's very plausible.
I could even say just for 1 year to give them more time to plan. They could do a Ryan Preece for 1 season just to give more time to plan for an upcoming guy like I don't know, work a deal, Trackhouse and Connor Zilish. I don't know.
Maybe you do Priest for a year and then Kyle Busch is readily available and you go get Kyle for the end of his career. I don't know. But the point is Spire spent a lot of money. Andretti, if they're connected, it's going to get even huger. I mean, what's your reaction to this, Jared? Andretti, Spire, who gets the 7? There's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts behind the scenes over here.
Well, it's just funny to me because Andretti to NASCAR is the same thing as Honda to NASCAR for me. It's just a storyline that keeps popping up every couple of years. I mean, it's been going on since before I was watching. I think there's a lot more to it, though. I think with Gainbridge, I don't think Gainbridge is just a sponsor. No. There's a lot of connections, tendrils, everything, if you will, connecting it all together, where there's more ownership stake behind the scenes of this for Spire than just to
jump
that.
Sorry, not to interrupt, but to jump in and add to that, if you heard on Sirius XM either yesterday or today, Jeff Dickerson, co-owner of Spire, that's his title. If you heard his sort of discussion on Corey LaJoy, he doesn't exactly sound confident they made the right decision. Like, I don't have the exact, maybe I have the quote. Let me see if I can pull up what he said. I wrote it down for something else. Yeah, he literally said, I'm not sure it's the right decision. letting Corey LaJoy go. He literally
Yeah.
said that. So
I
that makes you think that okay, other people have a lot of say in what goes on over there.
I
Just
don't I
saying.
don't think that yeah, I don't think that was his decision. I really
Not
don't.
solely, at least. I'll bet he was potentially outvoted or swayed in the room by others who have more
And
money, more power,
and
like Bainbridge.
like the chat says, this time it feels realistic now. Like it does. Like there's so much connection here to it. They keep pushing for F1. They have all this money and decide for it, but it's like it's clear as day. F1 is in the business of we want Americans' money, not their participation.
Yeah.
And it feels realistic. Both of them. I still think that the Honda to NASCAR kind of deal feels way more realistic now than it did 5, 6, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I think this kind of team investment, of sponsor investment, of just in general moving in on the sport. This is what NASCAR I think will point to when they talk about the direction they're changing stuff into.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. You mentioned Honda. I know, getting my names mixed up here. Andretti, obviously, they run Honda in IndyCar. I guess there's been chatter they could switch to Chevy. Their F1 bid has been with General Motors, Cadillac. Yeah, I guess that's Chevrolet effectively. So, yeah, I think there is potentially a path for Honda here as well, but that to me is a little murkier. I still think Honda to NASCAR is a very real possibility, but I'm like a little less confident now that it's going to be through Spire and Andretti as opposed to like 6 months ago. But we'll have to wait and see. Danny, do you have any thoughts? Like, who do you think? What kind of driver? Let's change the subject a little. What kind of driver do you feel Spire should look to put in the number 7? Let's say they can't get Kyle Busch. Like, what other drivers, based on who's available, who do you think they could go get?
So I've seen some people float around the idea of bring Justin Haley back into the Spire program because I think he's done honestly a fantastic job for Rick Ware Racing this year. And
Yeah.
what I think that would likely do if they went and got him, I think that'd be a good move on all parts because in Rick Ware's position, you know, they'll likely still be able to continue to field their car. And I think honestly, that's a perfect bridge spot for a Ryan Priest to land. I've been wondering what the heck is going to happen to Ryan Priest. Going to disappear from NASCAR altogether, or is something going to open up? If Justin Haley ended up with Spire, I think Rick Ware Racing makes a perfect place for Ryan Priest to have something.
That I could see that. That's valid, I think. Yeah, the Justin Haley to Spire rumors I feel have picked up quite a bit in the last couple of days. Just based on some rumblings. I remember a couple months ago he said he's loyal to Rick Ware. Whatever Rick Ware wants from me, I'll do it. And I said at the time, like, be careful because while that sort of loyalty is not seen very often in NASCAR and is kind of refreshing, there's a reason we don't see loyalty like that in NASCAR very often because deals come and go so quickly, sponsors come and go so quickly, teams go from competitive to non-competitive so quickly that it's hard to be loyal to someone because you can't never be 100% sure
I
they're going
think
to be loyal to you.
Justin Haley's future with Rick Ware Racing depends on Brad Keselowski and RFK's future if they want any attachment with Justin Haley.
That's the thing is like and when I talked to him earlier this year, I remember asking a question about, it was weird. When I talked to Justin Haley a few months ago, it's almost like he tried to distance himself from RFK. Like, hey, these cars, people think they're RFK cars. They're not. These are Rick Ware cars. Yeah, the shop is, on RFK campus, but they don't build these cars for us. We build the cars, we set them up. And I even asked him, like, how often do you talk to Brad Keselowski? How active is he? And he's like, oh, a little bit. Yeah, talk to him some. These are like, so I get the impression that maybe that Justin Haley is the next in line at Roush. Maybe that's not come to fruition in quite the way everyone initially thought. That's just my theory, kind of reading between the lines of what I heard from Justin Haley. And that was a couple months ago. So maybe things have changed because he has done really well. He's got Rick Ware's 2 best non-super speedway finishes ever. So maybe that is changing the narrative a bit. But Justin Haley to Spire, I think put a pin in that. I know the Kyle Busch theory was the most fun, but I'm starting to think Justin Haley, if they
I don't
pry him
think
away
Kyle
from Rick
Busch is
Ware,
happening.
no, I think the Justin Haley one is a little
And
more legit, more
likewise
realistic.
for Justin Haley, you bring up the Brad Keselowski tie-in. That's a huge risk for Haley's career to be willing to wait because
Yeah.
personally, I don't think Brad's close to retiring. I think Brad could keep going for quite a number more years.
How old is he?
Yeah, 40. Is
I
he? How
mean,
old is
he's getting back to winning races. He's getting back in, he's getting back in his swing of things as an owner driver. I don't see Brad
He'll be
going
41 next year,
away.
though. I
he?
mean,
See
He's
how
40.
he's not getting younger.
he's not getting younger, but
he's
he's
got
not.
3 more years. That's the thing. Is like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
are
but
you going to
how
wait 3 years?
how good are those years? And is Brad Keselowski
He
willing to
owns the
leverage
team.
his team versus his career as a driver? His team is his long-term legacy he's looking at. His driving career is his passion now, but like, is he going to want to race if his cap is 15th?
No, that's
I
valid.
agree. I agree with Matthew Allen. If Brad pulled a Peyton Manning, won a championship this year, go ahead and just retire right there on the stage.
Maybe. But that's the like last year, the year before, I would have said, oh, maybe you're onto something, Jarrett, because he seemed to have slipped. Chris Buescher was outrunning him pretty regularly. Not this year. This year, Brad looks as good, if not better, than Buescher. Like he seems
Buescher's
back
probably
a
not
little
going to make
bit.
the playoffs at
But
this rate.
to be fair, Martin Truex Jr. until the playoffs last year looked like one of the best guys in NASCAR, and ever since he's been pretty
Sure.
inconsistent.
It could be Keselowski. It could be Sutton. It could be Jimmy Johnson levels of whoa. Where did that drop off come from? That's possible, but I'm saying it hasn't happened yet. Like this year, we've actually seen a slight resurgence, which is encouraging and speaks to Danny's
I
point that he could race a couple more years easily, at least 3, I think.
I will say, coming back to that Spire kind of Andretti talk, I would not be surprised, maybe not if full time, but if Marco Andretti is an option for some races, if they have like where Colleague has an all-star car, JRM has an all-star car, I would not be surprised if he doesn't put all that time into the trucks for just to be a truck series driver.
Marco's he's barely made any NASCAR starts. I mean, he had a great thing going in SRX, and then that went away.
Yeah. I want to mention, where did it go? Turquoise Hawk says y'all are forgetting Zane Smith. Yeah, I feel like that hasn't been getting as much talk lately, but sure, Zane is at Spire. They could just move him to the 7 or move McDowell to the 7.
He's rumored to front row too.
Yeah, he's linked to front row. So is Sam Mayer. So I don't think Zane ends up at Spire next year. I think
Which
this
would
is a
be
one
just
and
kind
done.
of it would be kind of nice to see Zane Smith end up kind of going, back over to front row when all said and done.
Especially now that they're fairly competitive last year even, but now they're even more competitive and probably going to get better. It can be kind of exciting. I mean, I always felt like a Todd Gilliland, Zane Smith front row, and originally I also thought McDowell would be there. I felt like that trio could do great things, and Zane they let Zane walk, and I wasn't sure at the time, but maybe all in the universe will be corrected in due time.
I did see Spire put out a graphic saying 71's hitting its stride, and it's like at the last 5 or 6, 8 something races. It's like their average finish is 16th.
Yeah, he's gotten better. No, he's gotten a lot better. The 5 overtimes at Nashville helped for sure, but he has gotten better, no doubt. So with that being said, if there anything I missed before we get to our first super chat stage break?
I mean, overall, I think it all just covered. The team stuff we talked about, I think, just covers more charter wise. I really think that they're past the big splits of it now. I think it's just smaller things. I really do.
Oh, like the charter negotiations.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of talk about it and stuff, but it's like the more that they talk about, the more it's like, little things here and there, and it's just 1 or 2 teams, or it's just Denny Hamlin talking about it. It seems like at least from what I can see from an outside view, it seems like most of that is kind of, I would say, getting moved along quicker. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's really bad, but it seems like the money stuff's been solved for the most part. You haven't heard anything on that. Now it's just these little things here and there. And I think that's why you're starting to hear a little more news churning about an Andretti, about so-and-so getting another charter here or there.
The Steinbrenners investing in a team. Yeah,
you're hearing more,
you might be right.
You're hearing more stuff. And I think that, just reading between the lines, they wouldn't be talking more about this, I think, if it was getting worse. I think Denny Hamlin's just like, somebody listen to me, please.
Boycott the Netflix show, damn it. It's our only shot. Yeah, I'm with you. I had the same reaction reading those Sports Business Journal articles as I was like, oh, this is a little more positive of an outlook for the entire business, I guess, than we've heard recently with, guys like Michael Jordan saying the sport's going to die without permanent charters. Like we've seen some very inflammatory language coming from the team side. This felt more, oh, maybe we do all kind of get along at the end of it. It's like real world politics. Everyone hates each other until you actually get to the root of it. It's like, oh no, we all want what's best for each other.
Money.
Yeah. So, well, with that being said, we are nearly halfway through the show, but I think it's about time for our first super chat stage break. I will provide an update. We're over 400 likes already, well on our way to hitting our lofty goal of 600. We hit 600 likes. If you're just tuning in, we hit 600 likes on this stream. We will unlock Jarrett's random driver of the week segment, where he picks out a random driver. We have no idea who it could be. It could be anyone, past, present, future. Hell, I don't know. And he gives us very, very vague clues until we get it right. Always fun for the chat to play along as well. So
you say future. Imagine Jarrett pulls out a Brexton Bush on us.
Keelan Harvick. He will one day drive that. No, it's like, how do you know? How do you know? But yeah, so if we get over 600 likes by the end of the stream, we will do that segment. Just a little incentive there. Just going to float that out there. But in the meantime, you all have been very generous, leaving us super chats. We'll start off with Daniel Meredith Jr. I want a random track like Rockingham or another track somewhere that they don't really race much to be the championship finale. Rockingham could be interesting. Again, though, I guess it's independently owned now.
See, I did always like of Miami, like it was just one time there.
Yeah, I agree there.
You shouldn't get another time earlier in the year to race at your championship track.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Isaac V24 with the 2 says, my brother thinks you ranked Popeyes too low. Yeah, so if y'all saw, it kind of went viral today. Icy Vert and other people were retweeting it and basically slamming my chicken opinions. But if you watch this show regularly, you know that my fried chicken opinions are extremely valid. Popeyes, I like their spicy sandwich. I don't find myself craving it very often, whereas Raising Cane's, I don't know what it is, the sauce, the toast, the vibes. I find myself craving Raising Cane's about once a week. Can't say that about most other chicken places.
I'm a contrarian. I think that pig slop is terrible.
What Popeyes or Cane's?
Raising Cane's. I can't stand it. It's gross.
Terrible.
Yes, it's gross. It's greasy. It's nasty. Like I would
slap was on my ass as well.
I will take grilled chicken over that fried crap any day.
Oh, sure. I mean, I don't eat nearly as much fried chicken as I used to. I've been trying to eat a lot healthier, but I'm saying I can still every now and then slam home a Caniac combo, and to call that gross. Oh gosh. Yeah, I know. To call that gross is a little shocking.
Slam that down, then you'll be slamming your toilet for 30 minutes.
It's worth it. It's fine.
No, it's not. You might as well be eating Taco Bell at that point.
I had Taco Bell the other day. Sometimes you just got to wreck your body. It's like a cleanse. It's a calorie cleanse.
Buy a laxative.
Okay,
that doesn't taste good, Jarrett.
For the non-Jarretts of this call, me and Eric will appreciate this. Eric, have you ever done the thing where you take the cane sauce and you put hot sauce into it, you mix it together?
I've done that like once when I brought it home. I don't think I had very good hot. It was interesting. It was decent. I can imagine it'd be good. If you have good hot sauce, that could be good.
Well, you can get little packs of Texas Pete they'll give you and mix it in there. It's real good.
Oh, I've never.
Sauce clears.
Oh my!
I do like Chick-fil-A sauce,
especially the zesty.
Good.
I'm not It's more mustardy, right? I'm not a big.
Now, I will say, going back to what we always both saying, Chick-fil-A, I don't feel bad after I eat Chick-fil-A.
Exactly. It has a very diverse menu. That's why it was high on my list. Anyway, go to Twitter. You'll see my list. People are probably dunking on my rankings. I've been insulted more in the last 24 hours for that opinion than I've ever been insulted for a NASCAR opinion. So take that for what it's worth.
They can dunk on you and you can dunk chicken and sauce.
Thank you, Danny. That's exactly what I will be doing. Daniel Meredith sent another super chat. Exciting about Larson. 3 wins in a row dirt racing. Yeah, he's been red hot in the past, I guess, week or so. He's winning everything. World of Outlaws doesn't matter. He's showing up, taking the money. Hunter Nixon Fishing, thank you for the 20. During the 2 off weeks, went back and watched some rerun races. 2 that I watched were the 05 fall race at Dega and the 2020 Bristol night race. Both are 2 seriously underrated races. Harvick versus Busch at Bristol was amazing. Yeah, Bristol's great. 2020 Bristol.
That was the pandemic one with Harvick and Busch at the end. I was actually at that race.
Oh, there you go.
I took my brother to Bristol that year.
I see. I just remember the 2020 All-Star Night race with Thunderglow, and that race was extremely forgettable. Which is weird that I remember it. I guess because I was there. I guess that's what happens
The
when you're
best
there. You remember it.
the best part of it was the open. It was
Yeah.
the Bubba McDowell
Oh
rivalry.
yeah.
Got
Didn't they like the throw bumper or leave bumpers at each other's
Yeah,
doorstep? Real petty.
Bubba
Yeah.
left one at the hauler for the 34, and then I remember because that was the year everyone like just lost their mind. So Twitter was like a million different conspiracy theories for why, and it's like maybe, just maybe, it's Bristol, just maybe.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
hey, what am I saying?
Antar Das, thank you for the 5. First order of business. Oh God, Raising Cane's is tasteless and subpar. Only thing remotely worth consuming is the sauce and toast. I went there today to verify. I mean, yes, this toast and sauce is elite. I
See,
still think the chicken
I,
is good by itself, but if it's not for you, it's not for you.
I
That's
think
fine.
Raising Cane's owes Eric money because he's helped get them business, and we have proof right there.
Apparently, yeah, actually, there we go. They should be paying me. I don't expect anything in return from Raising Cane's. Just them existing is generous enough of them. Just them being a part of this great world. But yeah, that's funny, Antar Das. People are saying I need to go try Bojangles again. The 2 times I went to Bojangles, it was terrible. I'm sorry. And
Did
you know
we
what?
go after North Wilkesboro together?
No, I've been by myself both times in North Carolina,
So
and I'm sorry, both times maybe I caught them on bad days. It was bad. The biscuits were good. The chicken was dry. It's not my thing. I didn't like it. I'm
they
sorry.
have great seasoned fries. Did you get
Yes,
tenders or bone-in chicken?
I got tenders once, and those were worse. The bone-in was better. I remember
I
that.
I personally like Bojangles bone-in chicken wings. I
Yeah,
recommend them if you haven't had
it
them.
was better. So I should probably go back and give that a try and see if I catch them on a better day. The fries were good though,
Where
but
did where did you, me, and Slap go then after the All Star race before we climbed the mountain?
we climbed the mountain.
Yeah, remember that Airbnb
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
we were
yeah.
like, we got there and
Cookout? We went to Cookout, didn't we?
it probably was. That was pretty
I,
good. I
I
like
think
that.
Cookouts. It's good trashy. You know what I mean? Um. Anyway, sorry to all the Bojangles fans out there. I'll give it a second chance. They opened some up here in Dallas. I'll try it
There's
sometime soon.
and there's a Whataburger opening up in Hendersonville.
There you
Yes,
go.
there
Their
is.
chicken's
There
okay,
is.
give or take, but Whataburger overall is really good. All right, I'm gonna do just a few more super chats here because I'm
Yeah,
dwelling on these
we got
chicken
on the
ones.
Chicken Weekly podcast. So we
I
apologize for that.
apologize. Will Griffin, thank you for the 10. Chase Elliott fans are going to be pissed when they don't get a Coca-Cola diecast unless Lionel works out a deal. Chase, HMS might be big enough names to get the companies to work together. Yeah,
Hey, side note, Slim Chickens is on that car.
yeah, which is what sparked this whole conversation on my show
Looks
yesterday
like a
and
Demos car to me.
controversy. Where are we going here? SW says Suarez will win all 3 series in under a year: the Mexico series, the US, NASCAR series, and the Brazil series. That's right. Suarez, he won at the Clash, right? The Coliseum when the Mexico series race there. Didn't he win that?
Yep.
Wow, that's a crazy stat, actually. Good for him. I'm going to do 3 more here, and then we will move on with the next segment. Fred Dog 81, thoughts on the interesting number 1 jockey scheme? I didn't see it.
Oh
Did they-
yeah, it's a see-through
Oh.
scheme.
Check it out. Check it out.
Yeah, look it
sometime.
up.
What?
No, look it up on your phone real quick. It's a see-through scheme.
See,
and,
like,
and
okay.
basically what it's on the side
How
of the
else
door.
would you advertise jockey? Just think.
just think of
Oh,
it like you're
oh,
seeing through the door.
Where could I go? Like, where am I
Uh
going here?
there's a
And
trend.
thankfully, it's a cartoon version and not an actual person.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I love when we get
And-
live reactions on here.
Wait,
And this
that's
is only
so funny.
possible. This is only possible thanks to the number being moved forward. Let's just remember that.
That's a good point. Okay, so for folks who haven't found it, yes, it's like they have basically on the door a man.
Oh, that was perfect timing to lose him.
and
While driving the
while
car. Like it's supposed to now from the side look like Ross Chastain.
he looks like a ventriloquist.
Sorry, I know I lagged
now.
out for a second there, but yeah, that's good. I like that. Very clever.
And Danny, I'm still a center door number truther. So
Yeah.
One more from Fred Dog. Which non-NASCAR Brazilian driver would you like to see race? Emerson Fittipaldi, Ayrton Senna, Helio Castroneves, or anyone else? I mean, I've seen Castroneves race on TV a lot. It'd be cool to see him race NASCAR. But Senna, I guess, is pretty legendary. So that would be cool to see. Anyway, last one from Mittens, the racing cat. Mittens is out here at the Knoxville Nationals watching Kyle Larson. Have fun out there, Mittens. Stay on the right side of the catch fence. That's all we ask. chat, that is going to do it for our first super chat stage break. If you've already sent a super chat in, do not worry. We will get to it towards the end of the show. More than 600 concurrent viewers here on a beautiful Wednesday night. We are about 120, give or take, likes away from hitting our goal and unlocking the random driver segment. Only a couple more segments to go. So you guys, if you want to guess the random driver, you got to hit that like button sooner rather than later.
Can I make a random side thing here?
Of course you can.
I notice I now have the AI chat summary tool available to me, and
This is
it's
a huge
saying
development.
viewers are discussing their favorite fast food and restaurants ranging from Chick-fil-A, Cookout, Popeyes, Whataburger, and Slim Chickens, as well as a discussion of a NASCAR race.
Oh, by the way, this is a NASCAR show. Thank you, AI, for getting us back on track.
I'm just gonna let you know. One day, I'm not even gonna tell you when. I'm not gonna allude to it. Just in the middle of the show, you're just gonna see me like lean down and just bring up a freaking live chicken on camera, just for the hell of it. I don't know why, but it's Chicken Weekly podcast at this point.
Do you have access to a live chicken?
I got connections.
Oh, that's very suspicious. Okay, well, I will be keeping a close watch.
The bad thing is, knowing your fiance, she would probably not be. I could see her maybe being on board with it.
Maybe.
She's gonna go out and catch the chicken. She's gonna corral the chicken. We are roughly 100 likes away from 600, so keep them coming, folks, and we can unlock the random driver of the week. In the meantime, boys, a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for all of our areas, everywhere, anywhere you're watching this show from. Take cover immediately because it's the lightning round. Jarrett, take it away.
It's too late for Eric. He has been stricken, disturbed,
diseased.
Let's look on into it. First off, Juan Pablo Montoya will be back in NASCAR at Watkins Glen in the 50 car for 2311. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
He's gonna have top 5 pace.
Back for one final start.
Pitbull has bought the naming rights for the FIU football stadium, now called Pitbull Stadium. And seeing how he's a NASCAR owner, I can talk about it here and not have it be weird.
Should have been called Worldwide Stadium.
Ooh, Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Oh, gosh.
The Cincinnati Reds and Atlanta Braves are looking to play a game at Bristol next year. So,
wacky. I've seen some of the like mock-ups, people using Google Maps to try and figure out the dimensions. Like, I get that they're probably going to go for some sort of record, but like if you're going to that, like the viewing experience is not going to be good, like, right? For baseball.
I was there for the football game, so I can talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, how was that?
Football game, Colossus definitely made it fine.
Okay.
And I was sitting in what would usually be NASCAR turn 3. So I was sitting where I had like an end zone view and I could still tell when they're making big runs, passes. I could still see it, but I was also sitting fairly down in that turn, which in the equivalent of like an NFL of a college football stadium, that'd be like I was sitting pretty high up still. If you're sitting way high up, it was different. I don't see Bristol Motor Speedway selling out the whole stadium like they did for the football game in this case. I only see possibly just the straightaways of stands being sold personally, and the rest carped.
It's gonna look like a spring Bristol race.
That's what I see happening with this. With that being said, my biggest concern for what I've seen makes the most sense is like to put the field in there. I feel like pit walls got to be removed somehow to make this work, or else there's going to have to be special rules on home runs to left and right field because it's not going to be even.
It's going to be kind of ridiculous. I'll be interested to see how many tickets they sell. The Atlanta Braves are extremely popular, but the Cincinnati Reds.
This is good in between from Atlanta and Cincinnati, in my opinion.
I think that it'll be 80 to 90% Braves fans.
Don't sleep on Cincinnati fans. I've been at 2 games for the Vikings and Bengals, and Cincinnati fans. 1, some of the coolest fans in sports. They are so chill, but 2. They are very loyal for the teams. They will be there if they suck. Though I did see on social media all the Reds fans being like, great, so we can get boat raced in front of 150,000 people now.
Living here in Tennessee, I will say most people I know are either Braves fans because they're the closest by a small margin. Cincinnati fans because they're the second closest. There is some St. Louis fans out there. There are
Ugh.
some Cubs fans out there because of their connection to the team in East Tennessee and Knoxville, the Bears. So, but I would say the biggest majority of your fans are Braves and Reds fans, and due to the proximity, this is right in the middle. So I
Yeah,
see why they're doing this because
And
makes
now
sense.
for now, Nashville expansion isn't happening
and
yet.
they didn't want a riot to break out, so they wouldn't bring Philadelphia to it.
Yeah, Philly's Braves, that would have packed. They wouldn't have needed tarps.
Hey, I was there for Phillies Braves game a couple weeks ago.
How was that? Was it in Atlanta?
Yeah, Atlanta won. They played a good game.
Yeah, well, the Atlanta fans are a little more chill than the Philly fans. I'd be a little.
Yeah, I ain't going to a game in Philadelphia for anything. I went
Oh,
to
could I-
I went to their airport, and it like I don't know if it was like the secondary one or something, but it was trash. Like the
Ooh,
ceiling was falling in.
Gosh.
It looked terrible. Like
So-
slamming Philly tonight.
I
Goodness.
had nothing wrong with Braves or Phillies fans when I went to that game. I was wearing not this shirt, but another orange shirt I have that has where Tennessee Vols won the baseball championship. I had that shirt on, and I got a few Go Vols while I was walking around. When I was walking out, there was a car drove by us, and they must have been Georgia Bulldogs fans. They were
Oh, yeah.
barking at me driving down the road.
that
Yeah.
sounds like mentally handicapped.
Sounds about right.
That's Georgia fans for
Hey,
you.
well, I'd follow up because
I didn't say
last week on the show, I said I was going to my first ever Astros Rangers game in Dallas. I went. I'm wearing this hat because we did go on to win the series and win the silver boot, but this was the worst baseball game I ever went to. I asked you all to pray for me. You didn't pray hard enough. Walked off in the 10th inning. Ugh, ugly,
Oof.
hideous.
Oof.
But I didn't get barked at, so I think I came out of it okay,
Well,
thankfully.
you know what'll cheer us all up? Finding out about this year's Talladega truck race, which will be starting at 4:30 Eastern time on a Friday instead of 5, according to Bob, because apparently NASCAR forgot that Talladega doesn't have lights.
Whoops.
Oopsie daisy. Also, for you SVG fans out there, he's got a new crew chief, Bruce Schlichter. I love saying that name. Is out though. Josh Williams' current crew chief, Kevin Walter, is in. So interesting change right before
Yeah,
the playoffs.
especially considering he's the winningest driver this year. You got to imagine, I hate to speculate, it must be like some sort of personal reasons he's stepping away because like I don't know, they've done really well this year and you hate to stick SVG with the guy who's led the 11 team to like their worst season in a long time. Like no
Yeah.
disrespect, but like Josh Williams has been a huge disappointment while SVG has been kind of a little better than expected and now you're giving Josh Williams crew chief over to I
To me,
don't like it.
that tells me they think it's a driver problem more than a crew chief problem.
Maybe I just think I think it's bad all around for Colleague that something came up and now they're like scrambling and it's not good timing.
NASCAR also updated the red flag procedure for stalled race cars. There's now going to be a set amount of distance that they can be pushed before NASCAR deems that they must go to the tail of the field. Unlike now, where I don't think there really is any of that parameter. Bob reported on this earlier today. So that, I guarantee it's going to happen to at least one person during the playoffs. Like, there's going to be a red flag at Talladega because they're going to crash them up because, of course, they will. And then, like, Kyle Larson isn't going to be able to go for, like, the set amount of, like, 12 feet that they give him. And then they're all like, to the back of the pack. And Twitter will be Twitter. Kyle Busch fans rejoice. He actually got a win this year. Because Kyle Busch Motorsports was awarded $105,000 in their lawsuit against Rev Racing. So you gotta win.
I guess
You take them where you can get them at this point.
the court system keeping the streak alive.
Legal Eagle will be there to cover it. Also, a little business here. NWP channel. We got it at NWP Clips. I believe we just hit 300 subscribers on it today, which for a channel that we've like on and off not really shown too much
I'll take
TLC
it.
to until now. Like, thank you. We'll be putting all the episodes up on there. So appreciate that. And then on top of that, there we go. We got more graphics to put up here. Look at that. The NWP 400 is coming up very soon. The shootout is next Monday on IDK Players channel. We got the duels on Thursday, and the main event is August 20th. I almost said October for some reason. So Be sure to watch that. If you're interested in sponsoring any of the segments, maybe on the pre-race show, anything, email us, or even this show, for instance. You could do that too. We're not saying no. Email us at weeklypodcastguest@gmail.com. Or if you just want to leave another hate comment for me, I laugh at him all the time. It's all good by me.
Jared tells me, he's like, yeah, on our weekly podcast guest email, I got like a half a dozen like comments just trashing me. I'm like, what? Yeah. In the email? Not even.
Yeah,
that's what Twitter is for.
Yeah, they emailed me saying that I was the Alex Jones of NASCAR YouTubers, and I was like, okay, whatever. Like, you do what you want. It's just funny seeing people freak out about an opinion, but
gosh, I'm just surprised they took to the emails. Wow.
It was entertaining. Like, it's entertaining for me as long as it's relatively civil. I'm good. We're good.
Relatively, man. Everything is relative.
Relative, yes. And then next week, we will be on my channel. So we can get live reactions there Wednesday night, August 14th. John will join us, John Ramus. He'll join us, as well as, I believe, let me double check the schedule. We've been scheduling up episodes. So he'll be on August 14th, and on August 28th, Auto Racing Analytics will come back on to break down the deciding race at Darlington that's going to be coming up to make the playoffs, and the playoffs themselves. So we thought an analytics guy would be pretty damn good for that.
Yeah.
But guys, I think that covers it. There's some more lightning for you. Eric is getting struck. I hope it doesn't freeze you again. Does lightning freeze? I don't know.
Well, if you die, yeah, you're kind of frozen at that point.
Yeah. It's probably not going to be too good for you, but
yeah.
There you go,
awesome.
lightning round.
The lightning round presented by us. Now it's time for an abbreviated second half of this show. We don't have any real major headlines. We kind of pushed all of them to the front half of the show. So instead, we're going to jump straight into our prediction segment, not race prediction, but overall accountability session. Now, there was no race this past weekend. So Jarrett, I don't know, were there any predictions that came off the board last week?
For one of us.
Oh no, for who? For me? For you?
No. Danny actually had a good amount come off the board this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I actually played it pretty smart here for a little bit.
Yeah, so Danny's keeping this segment interesting. So real quick for the predictions, each host will make up to 3 motorsports, NASCAR, show-related predictions. We'll keep track each week of right and mostly wrong predictions that we have. Keep them concise, usually within 2 to 3 years, just as long as there's an end date. It can't be like, Chevy will win a championship, and then it's like if they go on a 30-year streak and not winning it, and I have to leave it there forever. Like that'll ever happen. My accountability, nothing. Eric's, nothing.
Hell yeah.
Danny, damn, son. Danny said that his second channel, Danny B Trains, would reach 1,000 subs before the end of the NASCAR season. It did before the end of the show last week. And then he said also not a single NASCAR driver would attend or at least post that they attended an event at the Olympic Games during the break. I didn't see anything.
I'm not going to lie. I thought for a split second that knowing how he likes to hang out celebs and stuff, I was scared Denny Hamlin was going to run me show up there, but I'm glad he didn't.
And I don't think they're going to show up right before a race weekend with a tropical storm running through. The one you got wrong, he said that Huda's next race, they had scheduled to be sponsored by Napa Auto Parts. Instead, it's sponsored by Coke.
That's a pleasant surprise, though.
Not the fun kind. Prediction percentage. I am still leading at 37.21%. Eric is at 33.33333333%. And Cito, I saw, also made an edit of me saying that on a loop, so it was pretty funny. And Danny is up to 29.41. So we're starting to get to the crunch time, and the percentages are crunching on together.
Okay. All right. So we each go one at a time. We each make a prediction. I've got mine. They're kind of goofy this week. Well, one's a little goofy, but I guess we'll start with you, Jared. Is that cool?
That's cool.
All right. Rock and roll.
All right. Let's see what we got here. I am going to say this. NASCAR will have some sort of sanctioned event, whether it be Xfinity or trucks, on Easter weekend next year. They said they wouldn't race Easter Sunday. They did not say Easter weekend in any of the reports.
Probably a good prediction. I feel that. Okay, my first prediction, sort of playoff related. So right now, off the top of my head, I believe Ross Chastain is 7 points to the good.
Hmm.
I believe that between now and the end of the regular season, Chastain will fall below the playoff cut line. That's not to say he will finish below the playoff cut line, but I do believe we will go into a race where Chastain is -7, -20, -3. That's my prediction. Maybe that's a low, maybe that's an easy one. I don't know. That's my prediction.
Raising Canes will sponsor a cup car by the end of 2024.
Ooh, by the end of this year.
If you want to see a Raising Cane's car, we have one for the NWP duels.
Ooh, I'm picking them to win.
I actually think that might happen, Danny. I'm going to do a Ross Chastain one, though, and I'm going to be definitive on it. I think Ross Chastain will miss the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs of all the drivers out there right now on that line, unless they turn something around in this off series here. The other drivers, I think, are either on a good enough roll right now, like Bubba Wallace, or just plainly better than the one like the 17, 54, and the 19 has that much of a gap. So I think Ross misses the playoffs.
See, I wasn't ready to go quite that far, partially because I can't remember who I've predicted on this segment will or won't make the playoffs. So I didn't want to contradict myself. I was afraid to make a nonsensical prediction, but that's a good one. That's valid. My next prediction this weekend at Richmond, they're debuting in a points paying race, the option tires. There will be two sets of option tires. I'm going to go out on a limb. We didn't see the option, or I should say, we didn't see the prime tires wear much, or what am I trying to say? The prime tires seem to consistently stay advantageous over the option tires at North Wilkesboro. I don't think we will see the winner of the Richmond race be on option tires. I think they will be on prime.
Line.
When they cross line, they will be on prime tires.
Every year they put out this list here, and I'm going to say that Chase Elliott will make up 75% or more of Lionel Racing's top 10 most sold diecasts of the year.
The way they're cutting off so many of them, they're probably a good bet. I'll end off with the last one for me here. I don't care how it's done. Can be because of rain, can be scheduled, can be the next night, can be, a jet dryer hits or something, and it could be a forest fire that pushes it to the end of the year. Martinsville Speedway, one way or another, will have a race end at night. We have not had that in a while at Martinsville. The last time I believe we had a Martinsville race end at night was the Gen 6. No, it was it was the first one in 2022, the first next gen race. That was also a rain delay. So I say no matter which way, no matter when they schedule it, there will be a Martinsville race that ends at night next year.
Okay, all right. I'm tweaking my final prediction. I was doing an NWP 400 related prediction, but it was kind of vague initially. Now that I know there's a Raising Cane's paint scheme in the field, tying this back to chicken, my prediction is that the Cane's car, I don't even know who's driving it, the Raising Cane's car will finish top 10 in the NWP 400.
I'm gonna laugh if it doesn't even make the event because nobody is safe. I love that about our event. Nobody is.
How many people are entered so far?
So we have 43 for the shootout, and that the top 4 to that make it to the duels as well, on top of the 58 that are entered there. And so we got 62 that will enter in the duels and qualifying. Top 4 in qualifying make it in off their time alone. And so 19 from each duel then make it in, and then from there we have 42 set. So we have an LCQ where the winner makes it in, and
that's okay. So I still feel good. Top 10. This is a bold one.
I see Muvik in the chat saying he does not like the duels. Last year he completely biffed it in turn 4 and missed it.
All
he
right.
was looking for redemption.
Bristol Motor Speedway will not just host a baseball game for the Braves and Reds in 2025. They will also have the neighboring minor league team, the Tennessee Smokies, play a game the week after, much like how the ETSU Buccaneers played the week after Tennessee in 2016. They had the field there. They're not going to waste it on one event.
Good point.
When would this game be? Just thinking, like, it would.
That's what I'm trying my best to figure out. I guess in the summertime.
It'd have to be early summer, like you would think, because like they'd have to have a lot of prep time to get the track back to normal.
Supposedly they're going to race in April.
And then probably
Yeah.
and then probably again in August or September.
It's closer to the
Probably
start of September now.
it'll be September.
Could they shoot for the end of May or early June?
I think you'd have to. Maybe you do a Memorial Day kind of game. Like you just have like a
August.
big
They're
game.
saying August 2nd in the chat. Like maybe
Really?
that's confirmed. That does seem like a quick turnaround.
Yeah, because think about this.
I
The
mean,
Southern 500 will be August 31st if it's still on Labor Day weekend. So 2 weeks after that would be the Bristol Night Race.
I mean,
So yeah.
I will say, I was shocked at how fast they got a football field in there because they raced a 2016 night race, and then that game was 3 weeks later.
Well, all right. There you go. Then they've done it before or something similar. I want to see them bring the foul poles in and prop those things up. We'll see how they do that. But that's the accountability segment, correct? We're done with that?
I believe we are.
And we are roughly 50 likes away from unlocking the mystery random driver of the week. So one final push. We're going to get into our Richmond preview, but once we're done making our Richmond picks, we'll see if we've hit the 600 mark or if we're not doing mystery driver this week. That'd be a real bummer. This has been a fun show. I'd hate to end on a sad note. I'm doing what you do, Danny. I'm trying to gaslight the chat here a little bit, see if we can make it happen.
I mean,
But
it's a real shame they don't like the game enough. I mean, I
really
figured they would by now.
I thought everyone liked games and fun, right?
Games.
Isn't that
I
why
like
we're all here?
games. I like
Yeah,
games.
that's the deal. Well, let's talk Richmond. NASCAR is back, the trucks and the Cup Series at least. So a few notes going into this week, and I mentioned this during my prediction, but there are multiple tire compounds being used for the Cup race. This will also, I believe, be the first weekend with Lee Diffie in the booth for the Cup Series race. He sort of went viral for his call of the 100-yard or 100-meter dash in the Olympics. I don't know. Having seen many photo finishes in racing, I felt like he called it really, really well. He had a call of, I think, the 400-meter race today that was really, really good. It was a great race as well. So Lee Diffie back in a NASCAR booth. The Truck Series playoffs will start after this weekend. So this is the cutoff race for the trucks, worth noting. Adam Stevens, probably could have put this in the lightning round. Whoops. Adam Stevens will not be on the pit box for the next few weeks. He suffered an injury. It sounded like playing at the pool with his kids, got a little too overzealous with some of the trick shots he was trying to pull off, required surgery on both knees. So wishing him the best in his recovery, but he will be at the JGR War Room. Bell's car chief, Chris Sherwood, will be the interim crew chief. And one note, this broke earlier today, I believe. If you're going to Richmond this weekend, there is a hurricane or tropical storm kind of passing through. All Friday at track activities have been canceled thus far out of precaution. So just be aware, nothing happening Friday. I hope everyone stays safe and has a good time out there. Oh my gosh, we are just a few likes away from 600. That climbed quickly.
It's a real shame they don't want to just do it now. It's a real shame. Okay, it's not a shame no more.
600. Well done, you guys. My goodness. All right. Well, once we get done with our predictions, we will do the random driver of the week. Thank you all for leaving a like on the stream. The truck race is the Clean Harbors 250. It's a 250 lap race. 110 laps are the stage breakdown. Starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Saturday on FS1, Fox Sports app. MRN has the radio broadcast. The weather's looking nice. Only a 10% chance of rain. Nice, cool 68 degrees. Carson Hocevar is the defending winner. And the Cup race is the Cookout 400. 400 laps, 70, 160, or 180, or can't even read that. 160 and 170 laps of the stage breakdowns. Starts at 6 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. So kind of an interesting Sunday night race. It'll be on USA Network and the NBC Sports app, also MRN and Sirius. Good weather as well, 60 or 85 degrees with a 4% chance of rain. Chris Buescher, sorry, is the defending race winner.
No, she mean Buescher.
Chris Buescher, 5'7".
Chris Buescher goes to Busey's to get stuff.
Our pick points, I just blew right into the microphone. Our pick points are pretty spacious. This is about as spread out as I think we've been all year long. The chat currently leads 354 total points. Danny is minus 25. Jarrett and I are tied minus 28. Co-basement boys for a change. That's kind of fun.
The only reason I win the tiebreaker is Cup wins. That's it. Because you
Nice.
have the edge in Xfinity.
Honestly, this is an advantage for me this week because it allows me to get first pick of both races. I need that big time. So, with that being said, let's get to it. We'll start with the Craftsman Truck Series race at Richmond Raceway. I get to make the first pick. This guy's been strong at short tracks most of the year. I know Ty Majeski's come on strong, but I like Christian Eckes to win on Saturday.
It's a good pick.
Yes, it is. But I'll take the momentum on this one. For me. It was between Eckes and Majeski, so I will take Ty Majeski.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Danny?
This is one of those tracks where those were my top two, but honestly, I felt good about all three picks I had for both trucks and cup. So I will go with number three, Corey Heim.
Yep, that's the big three of trucks this year, more or less.
You can never go wrong with Corey Heim, in my opinion.
I'm wondering
Absolutely
who the
not.
chat will pick now.
Yeah, that's the real interesting. They got the Spire options.
They want, well, get some 99. That's Ben Rhodes, ain't it?
That's by God, that's Ben Rhodes' number.
But there's a lot more Nick Sanchez's, I think.
There's beer on the line, damn it.
A lot of twos. I think we got to give it to Nick Sanchez. That's fair. He does have 2 wins this year. Not on short tracks, mind you, but he does have a couple of victories.
I'm surprised I didn't take. I see a lot of them tried, but there are more twos. I'm surprised they didn't take the 7.
I don't even know who's in the 7 this week.
Is Connor Zilich, right?
Oh yeah, he is. It is Zilich. Damn, he does win a lot, but
for Nick Sanchez.
He's not beating Eckes. Not this time around.
Hey, he can win, and my prediction about no new winners getting into the truck playoffs will still be right. So
that is true.
I'm okay with it.
Good point. Fair enough. Then moving on to the Cup Series race, I guess. The suck pick. Who's going to suck at Richmond? I hate to make this pick, but I'm just not feeling Chris Buescher. I know he won here a year ago. We're coming up on a string of some good tracks for him, but I just feel like there's no, to use some like young lingo these days, he's got no aura. I feel like just it's all wrong over there with Chris Buescher.
That word, like on Monday, became like the big hot thing on social media, and by Friday it became overused, and now I feel more and more like an old man. Like I'm Gen Z, and people are saying "okay, boomer" to me about it.
I've been saying aura for a long time in wrestling Twitter, so I'm used to it at this point.
As for my suck pick, I don't think winning in court's going to help him on the track. Kyle Busch. I'm sorry, man. He's been
tough.
He's been like it's difficult. Like I feel like he's checked out, and I feel like a vacation didn't help him check back into the hotel.
Low hanging fruit. I'll take his teammate Austin Dillon.
Chat is kind of all over the place. I've seen a lot of Dillons, Ty and Austin, because I think Ty, is he in the 16 this week?
Give him Ty. How often do I get to use him anymore?
Sure, why not?
What if they want him to win?
Yeah.
Ooh.
We'll give him Ty. We'll give him Ty.
All right, Cup Series dark horse pick. This is a tough one. I couldn't decide who to choose for this. I had a few names in the top of my head. I guess I'll go with Ty Gibbs. He didn't run particularly great here, if I recall, in the spring, but Toyota's always good. And as long as they don't blow a motor like they've done like 2 weeks in a row, I think he'll be in the top 7 or 8. So I'll go Ty Gibbs.
Sorry. I made the mistake of looking at Twitter.
Uh-oh.
You remember the dude that I said, "Okay, sir, this is a Wendy's," when he kept being like effing this at me, but he would always censor his cuss words? He's doing the same thing again, and it's just freaking entertaining, man.
Uh-oh.
It's just funny as hell.
He's probably coming after you for your Raising Cane steak.
They can kiss my ass. And him specifically. But no, it's funny as hell, man. No, I'm going to go Bubba Wallace on this one. I think that team is... I think they're good enough to keep like kind of top 12ing, top 10ing away, getting some stage points. And Toyota's pretty damn good here.
I'm going to be a little bit more bold on this one. And I don't know what this particularly means. It's not like I'm saying top 10 speed, but I'll go Riley Herbst as the underdog in this one. I think, could put together a decent performance.
Auditioning for a Cup Series ride next year, perhaps.
Maybe just proving his new hiring person right, his new boss right.
Yeah, we'll see. The chat is going Josh Berry, I would say, as the underdog pick, which is a good one. I agree. So lastly, who's going to win the Cookout 400 Cup Series race at Richmond Raceway? I'm so glad I get first pick. Toyota's good here. This guy's good here. He's been in a slump lately. I think the break was good for him. I'll go Denny Hamlin.
Damn it. That was my top pick.
Yeah.
But that's a good pick. Listen, I know that he's not going to have his crew chief there, but he's still pretty damn good at these types of tracks. I'll go Christopher Bell.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin was my second pick. My number one pick, though, is actually Ryan Blaney.
Ooh, kind of an interesting one. I like it.
Outside the
a lot of
box.
options.
I saw a lot of MTJs.
I am seeing a good number of 19s. I
This
think
is
it's
probably his last chance at a victory, I think.
this is one of his best. There's some
Well, not the last chance, but
Logano's.
he's the last realistic chance.
I think it's Truex by a sizable margin. Okay. Truex did lead the most laps here in the spring. He led like over 200, I believe, more than half the race. So it's not a bad pick. Different tires, options, I guess, but not a bad pick. Truex for the win. All right. Well, there you go. So that's going to do it. Our picks for the Richmond Cup race.
A lot of people are reminding me the fact that this is statistically Ryan Blaney's worst track, but also he's looked really good on these flat tracks this year.
Yeah, they've been good on short tracks, so we'll see what prevails at the end of the day. Well, before we get to our final super chat stage break, thank you all chat for leaving super chats, also for making your predictions heard during our Richmond preview. It's time for Jarrett's random driver of the week, where he tries to stump us and often succeeds. Who do we got? Give us the rules, Jarrett. Give us the outline.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna
Chat's already guessing. I'm
Yeah.
going to close the chat. We're already
That's a
making
hint.
guesses.
So I'm gonna just throw out a bunch of clues to you. I used to tell you how many. I don't tell you anymore because you could gauge how many you had to hear before you'd start guessing. I'm not gonna say that anymore. At the moment, Danny leads Eric 9-8 with victories on this one. Guests have gotten 5, but they also have been on way less shows. Last couple weeks, we had Quinn Houff won by Danny. David Reagan won by Eric. Danny won with Shauna Robinson. John came on the show. He's like kind of our Pocono. He just comes on every 5 weeks. He got Dick Trickle. And then Eric got Mike Stefanik. Those are our last 5. And they cannot look at the chat either.
Yep, chat is gone.
All right.
And don't message Eric on Instagram either.
Yeah, God, that's so funny.
I might just like randomly in the middle of it just like text you guys random driver names it can't be. Like I'll be like, this driver was born in 1842, and then I'll just send you like Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Every 3 questions, it's like in baseball, they have to check the pictures for sticky stuff. You can be like, okay, hands up, prove you're not on your phone.
I put my hands up too. All right, let's get on into it. First one here, this random driver's first super late model race was at South Boston Speedway.
Super late model.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This random driver was 15 in this race.
For him.
Ripe super late model age.
I'm going to get the tweet one out of the way early because I know it's everyone's favorite. Eric has tweeted about this random driver 14 times.
Oh.
Danny has tweeted about this random driver 6 times. And I have never tweeted this driver's name.
Wow.
Whoa.
What?
Big discrepancy here.
Yeah, whoa.
And this is one just for me. This random driver never raced at the Chicagoland Speedway.
Tough.
Bob Pockrass actually wrote an article about this random driver recently.
Recently.
Yeah, recently. Very recently.
Can you get like in the last year, last month?
Yeah, time is an illusion. The landmark of this random driver's hometown is a KFC. Since we're sticking on the chicken.
The chicken.
Sticking in the chicken.
Wait, what do you mean the landmark?
It's a specially made KFC.
Oh, like it's like
that's the landmark of this random driver's hometown.
What are they from Kentucky, I guess?
maybe was KFC actually founded in Kentucky? That
Yeah.
feels like one of those like urban
Yeah.
legends.
It was a startup like a old gas station or something like that.
I'm also a blue Jimmy. KFC his ass. It's bad.
Careful, Jarrett. You're gonna get dragged on Twitter too.
Oh
It's gonna be
The
the
Colonel
emails.
the Colonel will cancel Jarrett,
no!
guys.
Maybe this time they won't censor their cuss words. Oh no! Anyway, former Minnesota Viking Jerick McKinnon, the shortstop of the Chicago Cubs Dansby Swanson, country singer Travis Tritt, and WWE superstar Cody Rhodes are from this random driver's hometown.
Cody Rhodes from Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, thank you, Danny, because I didn't know where any of those people were from. I knew Dansby Swanson played for the Braves.
Like hearing Cody Rhodes, I at least got that because they always say from Atlanta, Georgia.
Is he from Atlanta?
That's what they bill him as on WWE.
I mean,
That's
people say I'm from Rockford, but I'm not.
So he's from is he from Hampton, Georgia, or wherever the track is? I don't know. Like, well, he's from a suburb.
Take a guess and find out. I've actually been looking through a bunch of different people's references of what they thought of this driver. And Eric once referred to this random driver as, quote, a super speedway specialist.
Ooh. I got to guess. Austin Hill.
That your answer?
Yeah, that's my guess.
And it's a wrong guess.
Wow. What?
And that would have made sense for as many times we tweeted about him. But
He just looks like KFC, doesn't he? Like he just
was that supposed to mean he eats it a lot?
No, you can see him in the white suit and cane. I don't know. I guess he doesn't have a beard. You're telling me? Oh, I felt good about that one.
Oh man. After the 2023 Super Bowl, this random driver tweeted a jersey swap photo of Patrick Mahomes and an NFL ref.
Oh.
So they just did like the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the year 2023.
That seems like something Austin Hill would do.
Oh, I know it's not Boyer.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
we've gotten that one out of the way. This random driver had 8 career ARCA wins.
8 career ARCA wins.
This random driver also was part of one of the most controversial races in modern NASCAR history.
So last week, I feel like every week is the most controversial race ever.
This random driver finished top 10 in all but 2 of his career ARCA starts.
Oh, so this is this feels like a young guy then.
I have
another
guess.
You guys might scream it out at once. So you go.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
No, that's not what I think he's from Mississippi.
Yeah, you're right.
I have a guess, but there's no way I would have tweeted this guy as a super speedway specialist, so I'm not going to burn this guess. I'm going to wait.
Eric, you were in attendance at this random driver's best cup finish. And Danny, you were in the attendance of this random driver's worst cup finish.
How do you look this up? All right, I'm going to make this guess. I know I only have 2 left. Shoot. I know he's from Atlanta. Corey Haim.
Is that your final guess?
Yeah.
You are correct.
Oh, yes.
And he's not from Atlanta.
He's from Marietta. I know that.
Okay, so then they just Cody Rhodes, they just say Atlanta as a bigger city then.
Oh.
Yeah, because I'll tell people I'm from Chesney Park, and they're like, I don't know. And then if they know Northern Illinois, I'm like, I'm from Rockford. It's. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any others here. Do you know that actually in his lone full-time ARCA season, he had a 3.1 average finish, and he still didn't win the championship?
I did. I knew he was good in ARCA. I didn't know that stat.
Yeah, he lost to Ty Gibbs.
Oh, brutal.
Now that explains it.
Let's see. He also reached double-digit truck wins quicker than Kyle Busch.
Why did I call him a super speedway specialist?
I don't know.
I'm going to find this tweet. Now I got another context.
His first win was Atlanta truck race.
Maybe. Okay. Maybe he had because that's not what I would like that in a way. Let's be honest. When you call someone a super speedway specialist, it's kind of demeaning in a way. It's kind of a backhanded compliment. It's like,
okay,
Jarrett, if he had never got it and we were still struggling, you could have said, one of you picked him tonight.
I really could have. What was the last?
How do you spell specialist? What is wrong with me?
Well, while you're at it, look up the big KFC. because that's the KFC in Marietta. And
Why is there a random
this is
KFC in
hold on,
Marietta?
that's what it looks like.
Whoa, that's insane.
It's a
Oh
big
yeah.
ass KFC.
Whoa, this looks cool.
Basically, they know they're right in the smack dab middle of Chick-fil-A country. They got to stand out down there.
Oh yeah, 2021. I called him a super speedway specialist after an ARCA win. I don't even
Okay,
remember that
guys, I
race.
got sorry, I got it wrong. He had 9 arc wins. Like, come on, like, damn, anyone fucking care?
I mean,
Like, no one fucking cares.
that wasn't the game changer.
Yeah, that was not going to change it, guys. Like, actually,
How can we ever trust your clues again, Jarrett?
God
Come on
forbid I forget one ARCA race.
Well, that was fun.
What's the AI saying about this right now? Viewers in the chat are trying to guess who won the latest Truck Series race at Phoenix Raceway. They roll out several drivers and speculate who it might be, and finally conclude that it disappears, and finally conclude that Corey Heim won the race. Okay.
Oh, he wishes he won the last, the finale last
That's
year.
the controversial race, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's up there, no doubt.
That was, I'd say, the last like of the time we've had this show. That's been one of the most controversial races that wasn't a cup race. I would even say it might be. It's up there with like the Ty Gibbs, Brandon Jones one at Martinsville.
Yeah, at least, and both of those were kind of controversial because of what happened on track. I feel like when fans really get angry is when it's like an off track or officiating decision. Calling a race before they maybe should have, or like that's when fans really get upset. Or the rules package leads to just awful, unforeseen racing. But when it's actually just drivers being dumb on the track, it's like it's controversial, but it's a little more, dare I say, it's more fun to shout about. It's not fun to shout about officials. It's fun to shout about what were you doing, Ty Gibbs? Just let him don't drive through Brandon Jones in that instance. You have to let him win, but don't wreck him.
The truck race where the picture of the flag man where his just head is down.
Yes.
I found it and I'm like, I'm saving that. Like, I need that picture.
Yeah, good call. Well, that was a fun one. I'm glad I tied it up 9-9. Me and Danny neck and neck. We're going back and forth every single week. Someone's got to put on a streak. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. We're going to wrap things up with our final super chat stage break. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Alex left. Thank you for the 5. As excited as I am for NASCAR coming back, I have to ask, is Jar Jar really a Sith Lord? If so, my homeboy Megatron wants to get in touch with him. Have we finally figured out who's behind all the Jar Jar accounts? Is it Alex left? Did he accidentally post this on Maine? Isaac V24 says favorite NASCAR movie. Mine is Cars 3. Cars is up there. Days of Thunder, a little cheesy. It's up there.
Probably Days of
Thunder. It should be Talladega Nights should be no one's favorite.
It can be some people's favorite, but it's not mine.
Some people who aren't NASCAR fans.
Yeah. Bobby Blair, thank you for the 10. I haven't been this excited about a young driver in years. Connor Zilic has such a bright future. Dude can drive anything. Best of luck to him in 2025. Yeah, the hype is real. And I think so far it's well deserved. It's a lot to put on an 18-year-old, but it's deserved. It's earned. Let's see if he can keep earning it. That's the real test. Chad Poling, thank you for the 2. Kyle to the 7 and Austin Hill to RCR in the 31. If Kyle Busch leaves Spire, I think Austin Hill would take that ride. Don't know if they'd rebrand it to the 31, but I would be shocked if Kyle Busch goes to Spire this year. Next year, hey, contract year, who knows? But I would be surprised at this point. Thank you for the super chat, Chad. Thank you, Josh Bob. Hey guys, hope you're doing well. I found a 1989 Jeff Gordon sprint car diecast at Goodwill today. Do you guys have any fun thrift store finds? That's a cool find. That's really cool. What about you guys?
Well, when at the Beer Gear store back home in Rockford, that I used to go to, I managed to, for like $80, get an autographed Mario Andretti diecast. So that was a cool find.
That's a good one.
Last year,
I found a Kevin Harvick signed 2001 diecast for like $50, and it wasn't like a super high quality like, I don't know, maybe it was just the diecast back then, but it was like, that's gonna look good on a shelf. So
last year at when we were in New England, we went to a random antique store and they had a bunch of NASCAR stuff in there actually. But one in particular I found had no box, so they kind of gave me a box with some bubble wrap to put it in, and it was a Bill Elliott. Forget exactly what year in the 80s, but it was the one where it had like they'd put the number on the wrong way. It was like mirrored or whatever it was. It was so different with it. And it was that one, and I got it for like only $20 or less or something like that.
That's pretty cool. That's
Damn.
good stuff. I like checking out thrift stores because you do find a lot of old like sports and especially NASCAR stuff. So I do like checking those kinds of things out, digging around.
We actually went to a big thing at the Nashville Fairgrounds flea market last week, and I sent Eric a picture. But
Yeah.
it was like a thrift and retro clothes event, and I realized how out of place I felt when I saw all these people walking around all this retro stuff, and seeing some of the prices I saw for like '09 NASCAR shirts. I'm like, dang, I missed out on keeping some of that, didn't I?
Yeah, shoot. I think it's crazy. I keep seeing, or I've started to see like 2010s NASCAR shirts in like shopping mall stores.
Yep.
Sometimes I find earlier. I sent Danny a photo. I saw a guy just wearing a probably 2016 Alex Bowman t-shirt, maybe 2018 Alex Bowman t-shirt.
2018.
I would say, and not to stereotype, probably wasn't a NASCAR fan. Looked like it was more of a style choice. But I'm like, man, we got a 2018 Alex Bowman shirt considered vintage merchandise. What is happening?
Working on internet time, man.
But yeah, Rowdy8 Diecast, thank you for the 5. Will LaJoy have a 2025 ride or will he be stacking unemployment checks? Don't think KFB is going to the 7. I'll be at Richmond, so hope for clear skies. We will hope for clear skies for you and everyone watching that race. I think LaJoy will get a ride somewhere. I'm not sure it'll be full time. That's how I kind of feel about it. But who knows? Bruce Morgan, thank you for the 5. Really appreciate you guys doing the show every week. I know it takes prep time in addition to airtime. Consider this recognition for your efforts. Well, that's very kind of you, Bruce.
Bruce has always been very kind to us. I've noticed that over the years.
Jarrett is by far puts the most prep work into this show. I mean, I think Danny and I both do. A lot of the work I do for my normal show ends up sort of resurfacing here. Like I do a lot of research during the week for my Monday through Friday show, and then I'm able to kind of spin a lot of those topics into what we talk about here. So it kind of, works smarter and harder, I guess, at the same time. But yeah, no, Jarrett deserves, as always, any chance I get to shout out Jarrett for the technical work he puts into this show, I think he deserves a shout out. But thank you, Bruce.
Always improving. Always can improve.
Yes. And Ben Lewis, thank you for the 10. Hey guys, your chicken debates are funny. Number 1, Chick-fil-A. Number 2, Cane's. Number 3, KFC. Jarrett, Raising Cane's is not the healthiest, but I can crave for it any day. You're a menace to Raising Cane's.
I value my arteries.
I feel like Cane's compared to some of these other chicken places is not as bad. I don't know.
I don't think it's worse. I just think that most American chicken places suck.
That's okay. Well, that's fair.
I have a very high tolerance for my chicken. I have an entire shelf in my mini fridge right next to this desk that has just chicken ready to be cooked.
To be fair, Jarrett and I live in the greater Nashville area, which is well known for hot, spicy fried chicken.
It's
so
really damn good.
We have
fried chicken I'll eat.
In addition to honestly a crap ton of chicken chain restaurants that are in this town we live in, we have also numerous more local chicken places too that are really good.
And then A.B. King in the chat says raising cholesterol.
Worth it every time. Grant, oh man, I don't even know if I can read this one. Grant, this is 10th super chat on the channel. Thank you for the notification, YouTube. Screw the Vols baseball team. WPS. Danny, I'm kidding.
That's Woo Pig Suey.
Oh, okay. Well, you said it, not me. I don't know. Danny, I'm kidding. They do say they're kidding, Danny, but I'm sorry I had to say that.
Hey, at the end of the day, we're the one who had the trophy.
Scrapyard.
It wasn't even your team in the end.
Yeah. Scrapyard, thank you for the super chat. Wreckfest 2 was announced recently. Do you think we'll see another NASCAR ride sponsored by the game, like with Camden Murphy's truck a few years ago? I don't even remember that. I did see Wreckfest 2 was announced, which I thought was cool. How old is the original Wreckfest? 6-8 years ago, maybe 2018, 2019.
How old's Ed Soundhead's channel?
Yeah. Let's just go date that. Let's go check that.
They're going to boys.
I'm also just not sure what more they can do without having just put mods into the original Wreckfest, or not mods, but DLCs.
Yeah.
Eddie Soundhead here.
2016. Is it really that old? Well, cool. Wreckfest 2 on the horizon. Nas Carson, thank you for the 10. Hey, NWP guys, I'll be at Richmond, the Virginia Richmond, Virginia Cup race. Anyone else going? And have you guys been to a Richmond race? Anything I should check out in Richmond other than the track?
I have.
I have not been and won't be there. Jarrett, I know you've been there. You have sort of a mixed opinion on Richmond, right? What do you think?
So I did not get into the infield because I was sort of like doing a round trip from like Illinois to Georgia, Virginia up to Cincinnati. The outside, it's nothing really all that special. There are some good vendor tents across the street though. I would definitely check those out. I got some really nice like vintage style Darlington shirt that I always wear every time Darlington comes up. But I've heard that the infield is a really good experience. So I would say go to the infield, check that out. And if you're able, if you still have to get seats underneath the press boxes because that sun is brutal before it goes down, especially down there in Virginia in the summer.
Peter Strada, friend of the show, says in the chat, I'll be at the race. Get dinner at Blue Atlas. I don't know if anyone here is familiar with it, but there we go. There's a firsthand recommendation.
There is a Waffle House nearby.
Damn, there we go.
If there's a Waffle House, you're fine.
So this is 2021 that I went because I wanted to see Junior race that one because that's when they did the double between the Xfinity and Cup the same day. And I came in with the long hair. And this lady goes, "Oh, you're back." And I'm like, "What? Oh, we saw you earlier." I'm like, you did? Yeah, you had those bars. They thought I was Corey LaJoy with Built Bars or whatever.
Oh.
I'm like, that's not me, ma'am.
I could see it. When you had the flow going a little bit, I could maybe see it.
I mean, he commented on it. He was like, "Nice flow," every time like I'd go in the garage or something. But I was like,
That's
okay,
funny.
that's a new one.
All right, there we go. Isaac with another super chat says, here's something better than Cane's, Detroit pizza. I do like Detroit pizza.
Yep.
It is pretty good. I won't argue that.
It's okay.
Yeah, Nash Carson, thank you for the 10. Thanks for picking my favorite driver, Truex. Chat, August 9th, 2024. August 9th, 2024 will be 17 years seizure-free from epilepsy because of brain surgery. I'm going to Cup race to celebrate this milestone in my life. That is incredible to hear. Awesome. Wow. 17 years seizure free. That's amazing. Well, Nash Carson, hope you have a wonderful time. I hope the weather stays clear for you. And I hope Truex has a good run for you. Hopefully, I'm not rooting for the chat to earn points on us this week, but if they do, at least I'll know you're happy. And that means a lot. So thank you, Nash Carson. A couple more here, guys. Rocks Reviews and Reactions says, thank you all for the show. Helps us through life. Anything we can do to make your Wednesday night a little more entertaining, a little more enjoyable. That's what we try to do. Appreciate that. And he also said, NASCAR is back. Hope Truex gets redemption. So a couple of Truex fans here to wrap up the show. Finally, this is a fitting way to finish. Fred Dog 81, forget your top choices. What's the dirt worst chicken place? In other words, who is the Ernie the Giant Chicken to your Peter Griffin? Worst chicken place.
God. I mean, if we're talking chains, I'm still going Canes. I don't like it.
Oh, the worst.
I don't like it, man.
What?
Like, the more I think about it, like I know earlier, I'm like, oh, it's not the worst. Like, maybe KFC. KFC is really nasty. I'll tell you this: the worst chicken was when I went to run that marathon the other week. Me and my mom went to the local supermarket and bought it. And it was literally opened it up, and it was like on the underside starting to rot already, and it was gross.
Oh, beautiful.
That was nasty. That's the worst chicken ever. It's worse than any chain.
Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna say this, and I've never had it, nor do I have any desire to have it, but because it's usually in gas stations. The crispy, crunchy chicken brand. I've seen them in a bunch of gas stations around here before, but I'm like, that just sounds like a bad idea waiting to happen.
Yeah, chat reminded me Dairy Queen. They're not really a chicken restaurant, but Dairy Queen.
I kind of disagree.
Don't get it. No, my brother worked at a Dairy Queen. I'll tell you afterwards because I really don't want to get in legal issues about Dairy Queen.
Not all Dairy Queens are
get Dairy Queen.
No, I've never had any problem with their chicken tenders and the hot gravy. It's a good combo.
Okay, I haven't been there in a long time. I just remember as a kid, they seemed really dry, a little too crunchy. I think that's why I like Cane's, is the breading is thin. Some people call it greasy. I like that it's not super duper crunchy. You get straight to the tender chicken underneath. Dairy Queen, if I recall, had a tough time with that. So maybe I'd throw Dairy Queen under the bus, but they're not a chicken restaurant. So
underrated chicken. is at Walmart, those little poppers or whatever. They're like these tiny little chicken balls, like almost like chicken nuggets. Really damn good.
Honestly, I will say underrated is going to Walmart in general. Their delis and getting chicken from there. It's actually really good.
Yeah.
I've got their chicken wings pretty good, honestly.
Get some rotisserie chicken.
I had some good
rotisserie chicken too.
I had some good like sort of Cajun spiced grilled chicken from HEB here in Texas tonight for dinner. Delicious.
Dracula loved that Cajun spice.
So
any Billy and Mandy fans in the chat? Dracula don't suck the blood. Dracula scrape and lick.
People bringing up Publix fried chicken. That's actually not too bad if you just want to go get some fried chicken from there too.
Not bad at all. No, good point. Well, on that delicious note, I think we have finally reached the end of tonight's NWP, and we've made it to the end of the off weeks. Next time you'll see us, we'll be reacting to Richmond Raceway.
Yeah. We'll actually have racing to talk about instead of chicken.
I know, but you can find us next time on the Icebergs channel. And
I lost the cue. I lost the cue. I'm like, there it is.
And we'll be on the Icebergs channel. We'll have next week is John, right? We'll have John Ramos on. Ramos. Should be a good time. Very well behaved boy. 8 p.m. Eastern time, August 14th, 1 week from tonight.
He's never living that down.
No, I love that nickname for him. And Bobby, thanks for the super chat. Yes, the Chicken Weekly podcast, just for this week only, I promise. Signing off. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you next week. Have a good one, y'all.
Bye.
Drivers, start your engine!